Hi everyone, welcome to Halal Savvy, where I talk about halal matters with either asatizas or industry professionals so that they can educate us about halal matters concerning their subject expertise. Okay, today we have Chef Mimi Wahadi. Chef Mimi Wahadi is someone that I know since the very beginning when I started Halal Food Hunt. She's one of the first people that I actually talked to, and she also is one of the people that talked to me about um, cakes and basically taught me about what is a good cake and how to review food. Yeah, and she taught me like what is a bad cake, what is a good cake, how does good cake taste, when it's like grainy, when it's half cooked, when it's not cooked, what is a health risk. Ma'am, is the filter halal? Filter is halal, yes, inshallah. um yeah, and then I still remember going to her house and she had baked for us like 6 types of cakes. I can't remember whether it's 6 or 3 types of cake. So she showed me like what is a dense cake, what is a light cake, and she showed me what's a short cake and how each of these items are supposed to taste. And that was actually at a prime time of Halal Food Hunt where I was like starting out in reviewing cakes lah. So Chef Mimi is going to join us in a bit, and she has had more than 17 years of experience in the hotel culinary line, and she is specifically a pastry chef. So she received a diploma in she received a diploma in pastry and baking in Shatec, Singapore, before interning at the most celebrated culinary legends like Tetsuya Wakuda, Chef Tetsuya Wakuda in Sydney, and oh my gosh, I can't pronounce the names. I'm so sorry. But yeah, she's really experienced. She is currently a senior chef instructor with baking industry training center, teaching WSQ and diploma courses. Okay, today I'm gonna ask her about halal matters concerning baking, and if you have any questions, just ask them in the ask box. Okay, and then we'll get to it as well. Okay, let's say hi to Chef Mimi. Hi, Chef. Assalamualaikum.
Salam. How are you?
Hi, Chef. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you guys hear
Can you
me
hear
well?
me?
If you guys can hear me well, just give me a thumbs up, okay? Okay. Hi, Chef. Are you okay? I
Yep,
cannot hear
yep.
you yet.
You can hear
Yes,
me?
okay, I can hear you. Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
okay.
Yes,
Yep,
I can.
yep.
Okay, great. Yay. Welcome, Chef. Sure, you want to push down your camera sikit so that I can see your face? Because now I can see your forehead.
Okay.
Yes, that's better. How are
Okay.
you? So long
Great,
never
great.
see you.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Yourself?
I'm okay.
Mm.
Still doing media, but I haven't seen you in so long. Oh my god, I
Yeah,
miss
been
your
busy.
cakes. But you don't take commission cakes anymore.
Not at the moment. Not at the moment. Busy right now with teaching.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Ken, thank you for joining us.
Welcome.
Maybe you want to introduce yourself to the audience a little,
I think you
and talk about where.
did the introduction for myself, right?
Yes, but I couldn't pronounce the names because you worked in
Yeah,
international places with international names. So I kind of scared
yeah.
that I would butcher the
Nah,
names.
it's
So I
okay.
thought.
No, so
Okay, so
basically,
where are the most interesting places that you have worked at, like, that we should know about?
Of course, I have worked in numerous places, but of course, each places have a lot of memory, but especially the one in France. The one in
Where in
France
France?
really, in Leon.
Oh, I always
Yeah,
hear Gordon Ramsay talk about Leon.
yeah. No, I never worked with Gordon Ramsay. Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
it's Paul Bocuse.
Mm-hmm.
So I, I,
So that.
I, I didn't really meet him, but in his one of his restaurant, most celebrated restaurant. So yeah, that's one of the place that actually I have a lot of uh, good and bad memories. But anyway, the good and the bad memories added to the, I would say, the experiences that actually benefited me along the way. Mm.
The good and bad memories, did it like involve a lot of like learning and shocking moments as well?
Yeah, of course. That's
Okay.
especially those, like when you are in a foreign country, especially in France, uh, is something got to do with the topic that we are actually discussing today. A lot of like halal, non-halal things, but more of a non-halal things. Yeah,
Okay. So
yeah,
sekarang I'll share with you from my perspective lah. So macam
yeah,
kalau
yeah,
I as a person who macam I'm a consumer, right? So
yeah,
my background is just previously was a halal auditor. Lepas tu I
yeah.
just I'm representing consumers lah in my work, right?
Mm, mm,
So whenever I talk about cake and I talk about how macam cake is not, it's not just cake, there's actually some pretty serious halal concerns with it.
true, true.
People just
Mm,
say that I am being paranoid or I am overly concerned, unnecessarily strict. So
mm.
macam it's hard for me to say that no, I'm not being overly
Fanatic.
a little bit paranoid. Yeah, I'm
Okay,
not being overconfident because there are like serious concerns because I know about it. Tapi unless there's
understand.
someone who is like from the scene and the one who like works and makes the cakes and like
Mm,
because they'll ask me about brands like macam Paul's, like
mm, 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 mm.
famous or macam can we eat cake at TWG, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like a
yeah, yeah,
very common famous brands in
yeah,
Singapore.
yeah.
And then but they're not halal certified lah. So they're not halal certified or they're not macam they don't have any halal endorsements, right?
Understand.
So
Mm, mm.
I generally avoid all those brands lah. So
Okay.
when I avoid them and then like I still get questions from the public lah, macam can you advise if this cake blah blah blah, this brand blah 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 blah, and many of them lah
Okay.
macam they don't
Yeah,
have
yeah.
any specific halal endorsements. And
Understand.
then so that it's halal or not, can we just eat it? Yeah. And then
Mm.
they're like, oh no, you are just too strict, and then they just go ahead. So I'm like, to me it's like I don't really control what everyone else eat. I just am concerned with what I myself eat and what I myself promote,
True,
so it's
true. Mm.
yeah, so if they but for them to call me like overly or unnecessarily paranoid, I think I take offense.
I understand. Because right now, for my case right now, because I'm actually teaching, right? So,
Mm-mm.
so when you teach people, like a lot of Muslims to come to the baking center, and they will ask me things about like, is this halal? Is that halal? So I think, of course, when you talk about halal, a little bit of sensitivity, because like macam, okay, how do you prove that you are halal? That kind of thing, right? So I will take my stance as giving them reassurance that whatever the ingredients or whatever is used in the center was not being contaminated with a non-halal. Like, there's a lot of things, like you can say that, for example, besides the meat, we're talking about butter, you're talking about cream cheese, all the halal that have the halal specification. So the reassurance of this whole thing is very important. So I understand where people, are coming from. And then it's like, oh, why are you like, a lot of time when I heard, take no offense, when they say, okay, tawakal lah, that kind of thing. But I know that there are some people who really, I would not say they are very strong, staunch, like macam, oh, die must have halal. But everybody has their own opinion and perspective of
Tolerance.
what they want to eat. Yes, correct. So
Mm.
yeah, there's a lot of gray area somewhere there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So this session here, hopefully we'll talk for about 45 minutes
Mm-hmm.
about halal matters. It's not
Correct.
about preaching or telling you guys that, oh, don't eat this, eat that, blah blah blah.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
not about that.
True.
What
Yep.
we are here for is to share knowledge and information from
True.
experts like Chef Mimi. So Chef Mimi is
No,
just
no, I'm
gonna
no
lay out
expert.
information.
Mm. Uh,
Yeah, she is actually. So we're
no,
gonna
no, no.
just
Yeah.
lay out the information, and we try not to macam say what our opinions are, whether it's halal or
Correct.
not, but
Correct.
we talk
Correct.
about what we know as facts that is
Yes.
available, and what is used and stuff like that, and then we leave it to the audience to decide for themselves whether they are comfortable with consuming it or not. Okay.
Yep. 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 Yep.
So
Definitely. Yep.
that is where we're at. Okay. Now,
All right.
before we go directly into the ingredients, kan, I want to ask about like when people are basically being educated in the culinary scene. So I'm talking about like
Ah,
schools. So when chefs undergo training, like let's say
ah,
I want to go to Shatek, and Shatek is
okay.
not the only culinary school. There are other schools.
Ah,
But if someone who goes through this education to be a
okay.
chef,
All right.
are they exposed to non-halal ingredients throughout their learning and
Yeah.
subsequently later?
Yeah, to be honest, yes. I mean, just a little bit of insight of the journey that I have gone through. So I actually joined Shatek way back in 1998. So that was when Shatek was still in the Mount Sophia. So we were actually, I took the course of the pastry and baking. And in that course alone, right, we are actually exposed to, I would say, a lot of non-halal things, which serves as a fundamentals of the learning itself. Yeah, like for example, I can
Examples?
tell you, like
Mm-hmm.
gelatin because we were taught to do the mousse cake, the gelatin there for a binder. So there is a purpose there. So not just because you want to use it or purposely want to use non-halal thing. And for example, if let's say we are making quiche, the tart, the savory tart, which the main thing will be like pork bacon. So we're using that as a quiche Lorraine meat base. So we are
Because
really
that's the
exposed.
original.
Yes, that's right. That's the original.
Okay, okay, okay. I'm gonna pause
Mm.
here. So you say that when you're learning to make quiche Lorraine, you will
Yeah,
actually be using pork to make it,
yeah,
kan?
yes.
So that means
Mm, mm,
technically, if let's
mm.
say today I live in Europe and I see a bakery selling quiche, is it right for me to just assume that it's pork inside?
I would not. I would not just a lot of. I think you should be. If let's say right now you are going to in Europe, you are you as a traveler, you want to know let's say more about food and their culture. I think I would not. I would not suggest you assume. I think it will be best to ask. But the thing is
Mm.
like it's very good for you to know what are the fundamentals of what is originally in that kind of food before assuming. I will not suggest you to assume. But for example, if
Mm.
let's say the label or the tag there to say that quiche Lorraine. So quiche Lorraine is basically using, if there's a meat, then I would likely reckon it with uh, non-halal meat, unless specifically say it's a halal bakery. So I think it's best to find
Mm.
out from the shop itself before assuming, and then after that, when you actually ask, you can actually confirm whether yes it is. But at least you have the
Mm.
fundamental knowledge of whether that food consists of this thing. But it's not just that, you see, because in a tart, likely originally before butter was introduced, okay, back in the days they are using lard because lard shorten the gluten and it makes it very crispy and very tender. So besides the meat itself, the things that goes into it, like the cream, the butter, everything. So I will not say that for you to just assume, oh, quiche Lorraine ada have pork and not halal, so the rest is okay. No, I don't think that should be how we should think. I think we should actually know what is that all about before assuming. Yeah.
Am I right to say that if you are not restricted by halal and you can
Okay.
choose between butter and lard, you would use lard? I heard that.
Uh,
This is what I heard. This is what I heard. Okay, okay. Wait. This is what I heard. Okay,
a trap,
I tell you what
a
I heard
trick
first,
question.
and then you tell me it's true or not. Okay, this is what I
Okay.
heard. I heard that the best form of butter is lard because it just gives you like better cake and better whatever. Is that
No,
true?
no, 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 no. Okay, so
No?
let's just clarify a little bit. Yeah. So pork lard is a type of fat, like how butter is a
Okay.
fat from the cow, right? So
Yeah.
lard is not necessarily used in cakes. It used in pastry. Like for example, originally mooncake I uses lard to give it the shorten.
Mm.
But for cake, we don't need shorten. That's why shortening. That's why we have vegetable shortening nowadays. Last time, the pastry I use a lard as to shorten the gluten so that when you eat, it melts in the mouth. Yeah.
What is a shortening?
Okay. The word shorten. Okay, you remember your strawberry shortcake?
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, see the word
Will
short?
forever remember my strawberry shortcake.
You see the word
Yes.
short? The short is a
Yeah.
term for you to, okay, see, like for example, when I eat strawberry shortcake, you have the base or something that is crunchy, right? So
Yeah.
shorten is a term used as like, oh, this base is very short. Short means like it melts in the mouth, only give a very, very buttery effect. So short is a term when you eat crispy yet melt in the mouth. But cakes
Oh,
doesn't
okay,
have
okay.
that, only pastry.
So you mean the flavor macam ends very short? Macam for a brief
No,
moment only you'll enjoy it.
no. No, it's not about that short or long or short. No. It's about the effect when it reaches your tongue. Shorten,
Okay.
short.
Okay, so the effect when it reaches my tongue is crispy and then it melts in the
Yeah,
mouth and
yes,
then the
that's right.
flavor ends there.
No, it
Okay.
doesn't end there. It's just like
Okay.
bursting in the mouth throughout.
Okay.
Yeah.
So okay, so now I got a new vocabulary to describe cake now.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
no, no,
I
no.
this
Pastry and
my own.
cookies.
Okay, pastry and
Only
cookies.
only pastry and cookie, not cake. Cake doesn't short. The base of the strawberry shortcake, because the base is crispy, that's why it's very short. But not the
I'm
entire
just
cake.
I'm trying to think like what other pastries I have reviewed and the taste is short. I think this short flavor is very very hard to achieve, kan?
No,
Is it
it's
hard to
actually
achieve?
no. Uh, the shorten the effect can be achieved. Of course, you have to use something which is very high in fat, like for example butter or
Lard.
then they lard. Yes, lard. So like the pastry, like that, like quiche, like
Uh-huh.
cookies. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay.
these are the thing that you will say, oh, like for example, acha British people, that kind of thing. Oh, the shortbread is short, that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
you cannot shorten a cake because the cake is supposed to be light and tender. But cookies or anything that have a pastry base, you use the term short. That's why you have one nowadays, because dia tak pakai lard lagi, dia pakai vegetable shortening like Crisco. It gives you the shorten when you do the rub-in method to produce a short crust pastry. You heard of short crust pastry?
Yes. I've
Yes,
heard
the
of short
short
crust
is
pastry.
there. Yeah.
I see. Yeah.
Mm.
Short crust pastry, I just want to be clear, I heard about it only from the makan perspective, not from the baking perspective. I tak minat langsung baking. Okay.
No, I think you should know. I think you should know,
Yeah,
since
of
you are
course.
reviewing, and you should give them an honest opinion. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
Is it okay? So there are some comments now. So is it
Yeah.
like crumbly and melt in texture?
Yes,
That kind of
something
texture
like
is
that.
called
Yes, correct. So
like
technically,
kuih tart also.
yes, kuih tart, yes,
No,
but kuih tart tak,
some
dia
kuih
tak
tarts which
crispy.
I've tried.
Kuih tart tak crispy. Dia must have the crispy character.
I see.
Then it melts.
Okay.
Yes. Mm.
Okay. Faham. Okay.
Mm.
Okay. So to do that, that means you need to use like an ingredient that is high fat lah. And
Yes, that's
usually
right.
to achieve that, previously they use lard to do that because of the high
Ah,
fat. And then second is now you use vegetable shortening. So to replace
yeah.
lard. So does
Uh-uh.
butter achieve the same type of texture?
Okay, first of all, right, when you talk about shortening, right, when you talk about animal fats, right, lard and butter, they are different. Lard is actually from the trimmings of the pig itself, right? But butter, no, they actually churn from the milk. Then they churn. Then in the butter consistency, out of 100%, about 83 to 86% are butter fat. The rest are milk solids and water. So in lard, right, the things that are favored because there is no water content. Dia macam oil macam tu. Yeah, the butter still got water. So that's why if let's say you're cooking a steak, you just heat up your cast iron, you throw in the butter, you will splatter water. So that's different. Then butter kan ada banyak. You talk about butter, you're talking about normal butter, you're talking about clarified butter, the butter that is being clarified of the water content, so it can high melting point, and a lot of things actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There's actually a lot of questions in my head right now because the other
I
thing
can
that
see
comes to
that.
my
I
head
can see that.
immediately is like,
Yeah.
wow, that means kalau sedap dia mesti tak halal.
No lah, tak semestinya, tak semestinya. Tak semestinya.
So that
Yeah.
that is actually the running joke when I was in halal auditing the office kan. So dia like sedap tak sedap tak sedap. Sedap confirm tak halal. So that is that
Yeah.
is the joke, the running
The
joke.
tagline lah, the tagline.
Okay, what is the difference between lard and ghee? Ghee punya component macam mana?
Ghee component, they have about 81.3, minimum 81.3% of fat lah. And then ghee kan, this is from, of course, different animal lah. Tapi when you compare with lard, this is different actually. And you can see that normally like the famous, like for example, the synonymly brand of ghee will be QBB kan? That is used in like masak nasi biryani, in a suji biscuit, and a lot of things. So when you eat suji biscuit, the first thing when you eat reaches your mouth, it will just melt down. So that is the effect that ghee. Ghee is actually a clarified butter.
Clarified butter. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Faham. Okay. Now let's come back to tadi because we digress because of quiche and short. Kan? Okay, so so because of the short flavor. Okay, so sekarang you have different okay, so let's say someone who is learning, let's say I'm a Muslim person and I want to go to culinary school. I think you're right. Like fundamentally, I must learn about all these ingredients. Like I must learn like why we use lard first. And then kalau I want to create a halal version, I need to basically find substitutes and achieve the same effect. So kalau I tak, if I don't know what is the originals, what is the fundamentals, the traditionals, then how am I supposed to macam reference something to build, right?
Definitely.
So
yes, definitely.
I think it's dimaafkan lah kalau you're in learning and then you are
I mean in the course of learning, I do have mixed feelings when I was there. So my late mother used to say, there's only one thing that you need to know. You are there to learn. So you focus on the learning, then when you accidentally, of course we use glove, but tapi kalau macam you need to do, then after that, you can actually serve to or anything. You need to know because the fundamentals, because it's very important. Kalau you tak tahu macam mana texture dia, how are you going to find a substitute which is giving the closest texture and in the taste wise? Yeah, that's the most important thing about learning our ingredients.
I see. Okay, and then then subsequently when you work in the industry, what were the macam shocking revelations that you learned about pastry making, that pastry or cakes that basically people, if you're not from the culinary world, you tak tahu and you tend to just assume that it's halal. Yeah.
Of course that a very plain looking, harmless, like you don't have to worry anything. There are more to it than meets the eye. A lot. Like for example, okay, when I was in Tokyo, when I was in Japan, okay, so the Japanese kind of cake is like very cottony, like very harmless lah, macam just a very light chiffon cake, and then they just coated with cream, right? But
it looks like nothing,
Yeah, no, the chiffon itself, maybe the cake is okay. I would love to assume that, but the cream that actually encapsulates it is something that you need to, is this contain gelatin? Because you need a binder to put the cream in place. So the binder that is very favored in the pastry world is gelatin. Because gelatin melts under our body temperature. Our body temperature 36. So the best binder for cakes and jelly and panna cotta or anything is gelatin. Because gelatin melts at 32. Our body temperature 36. So it will not be rubbery. So that's why it's very favored over other binders like the agar powder. But now they are using agar powder at a very small quantity because agar powder, or sometimes local call it agar-agar, is the strongest binder in the world, but it's not very favored in the cake because it will change the texture of the cream, unlike gelatin.
Okay, why is gelatin not halal again?
Okay, gelatin, okay, previously when I was in the when I was in the industry, in the school, right? The only gelatin that is very available, readily available, is from pork. So gelatin there are a few type of gelatin. There is pork, beef, and now you got the fish gelatin. Fish gelatin is mostly halal. Beef, they tengok halal slaughtered or not. Of course, pork, we don't talk about it. Yeah. So because in the world, about 95% of the world producer for the gelatin is from pork base. Pork is favored lah from pig, right? Because just to give a little bit of insight, why pork is I would say easily to produce, because the breaking down of the bones and collagen takes about 1/3 of the time to break down from beef. Yeah.
Easier, cheaper to produce, faster.
True. That's why 95% of the world producer is from pork.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if it's beef gelatin, it's slightly more expensive. And then
No, now fish gelatin is more expensive, but you compare, it's
why?
about the same. Fish.
Okay. The difference,
Yeah. Yeah.
does it make a difference when you make a cake? Like you make a cake from, I mean, you make the cream frosting from a fish gelatin versus like a pork gelatin. Like, is there a difference in texture, flavor?
Yes. Because kalau you want to purchase gelatin, right? Not only you just okay gelatin you buy. No. So gelatin dia ada blooming effect lah. Dia ada macam from 160, 180, 200, 220, 250. So you have to see, right? Like say the blooming effect. It's called the blooming effect, or the absorption effect of the binder. You have to see, like, if the pork uses 200 and 220, you got to find something similar. If not, you have to recalculate using the gelatin calculation. Nanti kalau tidak, dia tak akan kasih same effect lah. Dia tak boleh bind.
Okay.
Taste-wise, not really. Taste-wise, not really.
So it's a matter of how you handle it lah.
Correct.
I see. So technique. So someone from Putri's Delight asking about fish gelatin, whether it have the same effect. So you need to practice and handle it better. The better you handle it, the better the quality of your bakes, right?
Yes. And then you have to see, in Punwa right now, they selling fish gelatin of I think it's about 200 bloom. So when it's 200 bloom, you need to recalculate back on how the original of a recipe uses lah. Because it really matters, because if let's say you overuse, what you get is a very rubbery cake and not melt in the mouth cake.
Can I ask whether fish gelatin required to be halal certified atau
it is halal certified? Yeah, a lot of the chef now in the world, even in France, they are using fish gelatin because it's more environmental friendly. Their fish gelatin is made from the skin. That's why it's more expensive. Yeah.
Does it need to be halal certified atau tak? Halal certified pun is okay, is considered halal.
Mostly the one that I actually seen in Singapore is halal certified. I'm not too sure the one in Europe. Yeah, because when they actually maybe they manufacture and stuff, it's nothing else, it's just the fish skin.
I see. Okay. So it's considered like a low risk gelatin lah.
Yes, correct. It's more safer lah that way.
Yeah. I see. Okay. Okay. Then okay, so what about so tadi you talk about like in Tokyo where the cake is like just the chiffon cake. So the chiffon cake is considered, it will be safer, lower risk, but try to avoid the creams lah, because the creams are the one that they will hold the binding agent.
Yes.
They are more risky than compared to like just the normal rough cake. So I hope you guys who are listening, if you watch the previous episodes from Ustazah Shamim, Ustazah Nikmat, and Ustazah Nazira, we talk about how halal, when you are trying to make halal choices, and at any point in time you are trying to make the best halal choice that you can make at that point in time. And because of that, hang on. Yeah, so because of this, you can make the best halal choice that you can. So imagine kalau macam there are no halal bakeries around, and then you're in Tokyo, and then like you want to eat, and then after that you want to eat, and then you see that there's cake available, and and then but it's not halal certified. It's not halal, no demarkers of halal options. So
Yeah.
at that point in time, when you want to make that choice to eat the cake, then the best choice would be to eat the cake, but you avoid the cream because the cream would have a higher risk
Risk.
uh,
Yeah.
in this
Mm.
case. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when
Yeah.
in the case of macam the absence of clearly halal options, we are always talking about halal risk. Okay?
Yeah. Mm.
So you make the option with the least halal risk. Okay, before I continue, I just want to remind you guys that if you like this content and you want more of it, please support us by making a contribution for this content at coffee, at our coffee page for Halal Savvy. So that's ko-fi.com/halal savvy. And it actually helps us maintain this content. And after this content will be available on Spotify, and it will also be available on IGTV for you guys to refer to. Okay? So now, Chef, I want to ask you something about like ingredients lah.
Okay.
Because one of the ingredients which I always get asked about is butter. So is butter
Okay.
considered like a, a relatively macam safe ingredient? Like, is it just butter, or are there things that I need to be concerned about as well?
I will not say that it's like, oh, okay, butter je. Like, okay, well, harmless, right? So I think there are other things that uh, a lot of people, or I would rather, needs to know about butter. It's not just about like, oh, they are just harmless because they are just like dairy product. Because when you talk about butter and the milk, butter needs like, for example, when they churn, they will have halal. They will use like, for example, they use microbial rennet. They will use something like rennet, and last time they use like animal rennet, and in that case, most of the rennet will be from pork sauce. So when you
I
do not
thought
have
that
that
rennet
halal
was just cheese.
curding of the
I thought
cheese.
rennet was just cheese.
No, 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 no. In some butter, they uses this also. They uses this also. That's why a lot of people thought that there's nothing inside, but actually they will added something. Again, depending on the manufacturer, have sometimes. That's why you can see some butter they halal, some butter they don't have. Yeah.
Faham.
Mm. Yeah. So
Mm.
there are things that
So it's
inside that, yeah.
so I must get halal certified butter lah.
Uh, again, I would say that it's best to look at the ingredient list lah, the behind.
I see. Okay, it's
Yeah.
a like you were talking also about the process in which it was produced, right? The
Yeah.
butter.
Yeah. Mm.
I'm just like there's a lot of questions in my head right now. So macam
Okay.
okay, so if you're talking okay, sekarang when people say butter is just milk, right?
Mm.
So it's not just milk. There is added enzymes in there
Mm.
which may not be from halal sources,
Yes,
right?
yes,
And that's how you
yes,
churn and curdle the butter, right?
yes, yes. It's during the process lah. Some people, okay, some manufacturer will add as a binder, as a bind to solidify the butter. Some lah. I will not say all lah.
But this kind of things, the butter companies will not label it, right? Because it's like whatever you add in your butter is like a secret ingredient and it's a trademark, you know, to
No,
ensure like, no, it's not?
no.
No?
Because kan
Okay.
kalau dia add, okay, very simple. If let's say, okay, we take it as is like, if there's a halal certification, safe to buy, right? For Muslims lah, those who practicing, right? But if it's not, then it's really up to you. If kau belakang cakap tak ada apa, like, oh, it looks very harmless apa, okay lah. But again, we are talking about halal specs here. So there are like, for example, Australia butter, New Zealand butter, Denmark butter, French butter. You need to see, like, you know, whether they have this thing in that. But of course, sometimes they don't declare. But again, they will put something like, oh, I use what, you know, in the number specs. So you look out that number, and you might find out the risk there.
Okay, faham. two
Mm.
other things which always pop up in my Q&A. It's
Yeah.
flavorings and colorings.
Okay.
What are your
Okay.
thoughts on that? Because sometimes I think that some colorings, not I think, it's based from my previous work, that certain
Mm.
colorings literally just come from plants or pigmentations and all that.
Mm. Mm.
I don't think the halal risk there is very strong. But what about
There
flavorings?
is. There is. You're talking about
What is
color?
the risk?
Color?
Yeah,
Okay, like for example, a lot of
color and
mm.
flavorings.
Okay, we're talking about color
Yeah,
first, yeah. So the color will be like
yeah.
something like macam you have the water-based color and oil-based color, liposoluble and hydrosoluble. So liposoluble, there is
Mm-hmm.
fat content there. They might be using some thickener. So thickener base, oil base, could be from non-halal source. Thickener. I'm talking about the liposoluble, which is the fat soluble coloring. And another one will be like
Mm.
very synonymly, people like to do red velvet, right?
Yeah. How?
The color, the color, the color, if it's a very natural red color, you're not taking from beetroot. Originally, you're taking from the female buds of a plant called cochineal, red color. It's a cochineal bug. Yeah, so it's an
Yes,
animal
it's
lah.
about.
Yeah, yeah. So
Mm.
besides that, I a bit concerned about color. They don't have a halal certified, halal certified because they might contain some source of thickener or gelatin to bind them to make it in a paste that can be incorporated into food seamlessly. Yeah.
Okay.
I confuse you there?
Okay. No. Because just now we talked about shortening, right? So
Mm,
now there is another word called thickener.
mm.
So thickener is just something that thickens your batter, or
No,
what
thickener is
defines a
something
thickener?
like thickener is something that binds, glue, binds the thing
Glue.
to make it into a paste. And
I
then
see.
kalau the fats, like for example, fats is added into the color to give it the shine, the shine. Yeah,
Faham.
yeah.
So that's if the color is shiny,
No, no,
that
no,
means
no,
there's
no.
like no
I mean,
no.
no, I don't say all, please, later people come and sue
I
me,
don't say all lah. Yo.
I'm saying that these are the character that can enhance the texture of the color paste itself.
I see. So if the color
Mm,
paste is shiny, usually there's fat content inside,
correct.
right?
Especially
And there's
liposoluble, fat soluble coloring.
yes, fat
Yeah.
soluble color. So if
Yes.
there's fat inside, based on my knowledge, fat content usually is from animals. It's not from plants.
Depending lah, actually, maybe from vegetable, I'm not too sure because if you have the shortening from vegetable, you can have
Right.
the oil from plant.
Yes, tapi
Yeah.
we are talking about industry production here. When
Ah,
you're talking about industry production, right? And
ah.
between animal fat and plant fat, it's
Mm,
easier to obtain animal fat and cheaper as
definitely.
well compared to
Definitely.
plant
Abundance
fat
lah, abundance.
because of the percentage fat in
Mm,
plants compared to percentage fat in an animal. So it's
mm.
basically easier to get an animal fat compared to plant fat. You need a lot more plants to have the
Correct.
same amount of fat. You get
True,
what I mean?
true, true,
So
true.
because of this like industry knowledge kan,
Ah,
I would say that it forms a higher risk,
yeah,
right?
definitely, definitely.
Okay, faham.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, okay. So what about flavorings pula?
Okay, flavorings. Okay. So, like for example, macam tiramisu, like tiramisu, you buy
Why you
a.
mentioning all the favorite flavors,
No,
Raymond?
I couldn't be mentioning rum and raisin, what, right? I'm taking, I'm taking the, I'm taking the
The
very
common.
subtle, common lah tiramisu kan. So tiramisu, originally they have this distinctive taste of coffee, and of course, originally tiramisu uses liquor lah, like the kalua or the marsala. It's a alcohol wine, it's a wine, right? So I know the industry, they have the compound tiramisu flavoring. You heard before? compound.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
called
yeah.
compound.
Yeah.
So I never use compound before, as in like for example to flavor the cake. For example, if I were to make tiramisu, I would just go straight into the coffee. I will not more onto the non-halal liquor. So if people found out about tiramisu compound flavor, I'm not too sure whether it's halal or not. But I would like to think that okay, maybe it's just harmless. But again, there is a specific ingredients inside. I will not just tell you, oh
What?
no, it's not halal. No, I won't say that. You have to see the components of the ingredients in that compound itself. Like for example, vanilla, right? So you got vanilla essence, you got vanilla paste, you got vanilla extract. So the most high risk one will be vanilla extract, because the original vanilla extract, and you can see that the price are more higher, is due to the extraction of the vanilla, and the extraction is done with one
Using the best
alcohol,
solvent in the world of
vodka,
alcohol. So
vodka.
the yes.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
So yeah.
Yeah.
mm.
No, because in chemistry where I come
Yeah.
from, we study all the solvents.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So we study all the different types of solvents and which
Mm.
ones can extract things from plants, or which ones
Yeah.
can extract things from other things that we can derive from nature, specifically for what we want them for. One of it is flavorings lah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
and we
Yes.
tried. I think one of my friend's sister tried to make her own vanilla extract.
Mm.
But she didn't use alcohol, so the process was like very long. She took like 2
Yeah.
weeks just to extract the vanilla, compared
Mm.
to if you use vodka,
Yeah.
right? You can really
Yes.
extract it in like half the time. So
Yes. Yes.
that's why once they say it's vanilla extract, right, there's a really high chance that that is basically alcohol flavored
And of course,
products.
vanilla extract you can see by the price. It's never cheap. Yeah. Yeah. Compared to
Okay.
vanilla essence lah.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay, what's the difference actually? Essence and extract.
Essence
And
is
I also
actually you
saw
just take.
on the newspaper, I also saw vanilla flavor. So what is the difference? Vanilla extract, flavor, and essence.
Okay, so when you see the essence, like macam like for example, the brand in the glass, right? It's
Yeah.
very liquid. So that one is called vanilla essence.
Uh-huh.
Then the one like you find in Pun Wan, in tubs, it's a little bit more thicken. So it's very pasty. Then they call it vanilla flavor, and sometimes they call it vanilla essence. So it's just the essence of that compound that they use lah. It's not the real thing. Yeah, but if
I
if
see.
something got to do with the real thing, that especially vanilla, it's gonna be cost you a lot more, because vanilla is one of the most expensive, I would say, plant, or I would say is the lioness of the orchid plant.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so this would require halal ingredients lah. I mean halal
Yeah.
certification lah.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question here which is interesting because I have seen it, and I've done my own background checks on it. Tapi I just want to confirm it again with an expert like you. What's the
Okay.
difference between like okay, just now we talked about butter and cheese, and the curdling of it requires the enzyme rennet, which primarily come from pork in the region, come from pigs. Tapi and then now there are basically halal rennets as well, where you extract it
Microbiome
from
rennet.
different. Yes. What
Yeah.
what is the difference between that rennet and microbial rennet? Microbial rennet, is it like a reproduced rennet or from petri dish, or that what is it?
Okay, because last time, okay, like for example, my experience last time when I was working as a trainee. So last time when they do cheesecake, right? We are using
Yeah.
Philadelphia cheese. Like I just quote you a brand, Philadelphia cheese. And last time, like 20 years ago, Philadelphia cheese was not produced in Australia. It was produced right from the America, Philadelphia cheese. So
Okay.
I being very inquisitive last time, I will run through the ingredients, and I saw this the ingredient is from a pig rennet. That was from 20 years ago, when they actually do not produce Philadelphia cream cheese in Australia, which have now halal certified. So I would say that because a lot of people will think that using like things that is not from animal source is better in that sense. But if you ask me, is there a difference? I will not say so, because this is a curdling kind of ingredient. It's not the main thing that gives it the flavor or the texture wise lah. Yeah, so microbiome is much more favor right now due to the health concern and stuff, and also it's more um, environmental friendly, I would say.
The microbiome means it comes from plants.
It's not from plant. It's not from any animal source.
So what is
Besides the
then what is micro?
I would say there is something that they actually culture,
Synthetic?
and then yeah, it's something like lactic like that. Like in Japan they have in France also have lactic butter, right? It's a very
no, I don't know about
expensive.
lactic butter.
Lactic butter normally they are used in like croissant in Danish, which give them a little bit much more sourish in flavor. So these are all like when you talk about sourish flavor, lactic means like it gives them the culturing of that enzyme itself lah. So it gives you like macam what do you call it, macam yeast, macam yeasty kind of thing. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
That means lactic butter. What is lactic
They're different.
butter?
They're different.
Made from
Culture. They added a culture inside the butter. Yeah, so the punya taste of the butter is not a flat taste. It's a very like you have the tonation of the taste there, like macam a little bit sourish, macam yogurt macam tu lah. Lactic lah.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
Okay. For those who are asking about the microorganism and like you're wondering what are we talking about when we say culture and all that. These basically are like it's not from animal source or anything. Is cultured in the lab. So it's like you take a butter that has already been made. And then like from a one of the questions asking, is it from microorganisms? Like can you culture it? The answer is yes. Like in the labs, right, you can synthetically produce things. Just like how your should I say
yeast
okay, like for example soft yeast is an example. Like for example your soft drinks as well. So your soft drinks largely primarily are halal because they are all synthetically produced, because they have been the flavors are basically created in a lab, and then they create the flavor there and then they mass produce it. Yeah. So so in fact one of when we are doing like halal certifications, right, when we are asking for the source of the ingredients, we will actually people usually are more they are more familiar with animal source or plant-based source, but there's actually a third source, and this third source is synthetic. Synthetic just means it's like humans made it, but we made it from the lab. Yeah, so we feed the culture something for it to grow. Yeah, so then it's harvested like farms. Yeah, if you get what I mean. Yeah. So I don't know how best to describe it, but that is like the easiest layman way for me to describe it lah. Okay, Chef, correct or not?
Yeah, something along that line. The same as they culture, they get the instant yeast versus if you make artisan, it's from the natural yeast lah, cultured yeast that you can culture yourself.
Yeah, so those cultured and synthetics are usually considered as halal because it did not come directly from an animal source that requires certification or doesn't require it to be halal slaughtered and all that, so like it doesn't violate nor contain any like non-halal ingredients, so it's generally considered as halal. Okay, let's run through a bit of more questions and then I think we're done. Okay, hang on. Fish gelatin. Somebody asked about, okay, if there's no outright liquor in desserts, are there chefs or bakers or no aware of ingredients such as coloring, preservative, or flavoring that has liquor in their ingredients? I think based on our discussion today about the risk of flavoring containing liquor in them, I think it's best to choose for halal certified ones. But otherwise, you avoid the extracts. Yeah. Okay. This one. For chocolates like from Japan, they may have translated ingredients. The translated ingredients does not state any lard, pop, or liquor. Is it safe to eat? And because she knows that in Japanese like to add lard or pop or liquor inside their chocolates. Okay, Chef, first, can you explain what is a translated ingredient?
Translated means like that from Japan, because normally from Japan, Korea, right? When they translate, there are things that maybe is not translated properly. So normally, yeah. Okay, because when I was in Japan, like Japan have a lot of the chocolate, which is nice. Like for example, the brand Meiji, or a lot of things that you can find in the supermarket, right? Yeah, one I know. The one that always in the airport must buy so many. Guilty as charged. Okay. So in the chocolate, right? So when they actually do it, okay, I think you are guilty. Okay. They will use fat to make chocolate shine, to make chocolate really, really have a very nice, smooth mouth feel. And most of it, they contain pork. Yeah, because when I was in Japan, we went around, and then I wanted to buy a chocolate. So I have this chef I was doing an internship, and then it was so lucky that I asked him, so he directly translated, and then he was somewhere along the line as fat. Then I asked him what fat. Then he tell me that it's not. If you directly translate it, you will not. It looks harmless, but it's actually pork. Mostly chocolates lah. Because if let's say, especially the one that is very, I think I don't name names lah. Those who very smooth, melt in the mouth, they uses cream, and inside cream there's a thickener, and thickener might have been produced with a animal rennet. So it's not only that dia akan masuk, there's inside. If you are very specific, these are the things that you need to look out for. Not just chocolate harmless, Guilty?
I've never been to Japan.
Okay.
But I have received gifts.
Okay.
Tak
tahu tak apa kan?
And I've received gifts from people who've been to Japan. Okay. And they translate the ingredients before they decide whether they want to eat it. But I didn't know that after you translate, you might not capture the meaning.
Yes, mostly
fully. So I honestly thought that food ingredients, like when you translate it, it's like there's no way for it to like loosely, there's no way for you to lose the meaning, because it's ingredient what. If it's apple, it's translated apple. Okay, I mean, like, why? Yeah, but now I know.
Yeah, sometimes, especially like Korea and Japan, there's a lot of times that I actually, even like, for example, I love a certain brand from Korea about this almond based nuts. But then I think that why is it different in that taste? Because there must be some ingredient, and then there is no translation. So actually I Google it, and then I ask friends who actually know a bit of Korean, and to my finding, I can no longer eat that thing is because they contain a certain amount of fat that is from non-halal source, from pig lah. Nuts is very shiny, so they must have used something that give it shine. So it's
And I mean, us as consumers will not think twice about this, but you as the expert will be like, hey, why is it shining? Then you will know kenapa the shine. Then you would know, you would be able to make that link and like, let's search this ingredient. But people like us yang makan aja, we wouldn't think that, hey, why is it shining? We'll just take it as, alhamdulillah.
No lah, I also suka makan. I'm no expert, you see, Jum. I mean, we learn. I mean, I learn a lot from you. I learn a lot from, I mean, I know. But the thing is like, yes, as much as I love to eat, I must be very, you are responsible for what you eat. So you find something that, normally when I buy things, I will look at the ingredient. And if it doesn't translate especially from a foreign language, you need to be having like, ini apa What is this Then normally, I will stand in front of the packaging very long, Googling this number 467731. What is this? Something like that lah. I mean, to be very honest, I myself is still learning. I'm no expert in whatever. I don't call myself having a forte or anything. I'm just responsible for what I do, I eat. And also, if I know that, it's my responsibility to actually share the information. And if people want to take it, they take it, I will gladly share. But if not, it's really up to each individual. We have to really know what we're eating and putting in our body.
Okay. Okay, understand. Okay, thank you, Chef.
No problem.
That was a that was quite yeah, I'm curious. Like it's I was about to ask like, what if I just eat a plain croissant? Is it okay? And then you'll be like, oh no, we have to check the butter used. But then again,
Yeah.
before okay, Chef, maybe any last words before I close it?
Not really. Just like what I said that for bakers or any people who loves to eat food, I mean, there's a lot of like macam, oh, very nice, especially if let's say you walk past a bakery and you can smell croissant and you can smell a lot of things very nice in the air. The first thing that you need to know that, you know, you are responsible for what you eat. And then it's really up to you to find out what is that thing. Like, for example, do a quick search of what is the thing that you're going to eat, especially those who looks very harmless.
I see. Okay, thank you, Chef Mimi.
Yeah,
Thank you so
welcome.
much for sharing your
Welcome.
insights.
Yep, my pleasure.
For aspiring for aspiring chefs.
All right.
Do take note of what Chef Mimi has shared, and then based on what you learned, then you basically you can come up with your own halal adaptations of it. But the important thing is always to seek knowledge, whether halal or not. You seek the knowledge first, and then halal becomes something that you practice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that was what I wanted to say. And then based on this sharing, I want to reiterate again, we are just sharing information and knowledge based on our areas of expertise. We are listing out all the information and sharing it with you guys. It's really up to you whether you want to take the information or not, and whether you would like to practice certain things or not. And at the end of the day, you are responsible for what you eat. Even both of us, when we are sharing, we are only sharing based on what we are eating and based on how we see our own like halal habits. Okay, so so we're just sharing with you, and yeah, then you make your own choices. We are not here to define what you can or cannot eat. Okay,
True.
all right.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you so much, Chef Mimi.
Most welcome.
I will be putting this content up on Spotify, so you guys can listen on it again. If you got any feedback on this, just you can leave it in the comments, or you can leave us DMs to make sure that we read it, or you can write to us on emails, and then share the love, share the knowledge. Okay, I hope it helps. And if you love us, please help us maintain the content. We are trying to reduce dependency on advertising income, because if we have less dependency on advertising income, then we can create more educational content like this. Okay, and if you love us, please contribute to this content at ko-fi.com/halal-savvy, and it will help our team basically propagate educational halal content. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Chef Mimi.
Welcome.
I'll see you guys in the
Thank
next
you.
series. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Chef.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.